Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome back to Comedian MTG. My name is Ian, and today I am talking about, once again, the team for cEDH that is bringing the hot new tournament scene, the brand new, at this point, not as brand new as the last one, but for their second major in-person tournament, we're bringing Eminence Events back to this channel, and today I have one of the two of our West Coast content team. I have Adam Papaphobia from the Sadnaus podcast. Adam, say hi.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Coming in with that crisp podcast audio. I love it. So Adam's here today to basically tell us all of the juicy details about Silicon Dynasty. Now, for those who have been watching this channel for a while, they will remember my very hype-filled video that I did with Scoots from the Eminence East Coast team, talking about all the things that Punt City had to offer. As anyone who saw my summary video for that tournament knows, it was an amazing experience, probably one of the best cEDH events. I'm not probably, one of the best cEDH events I have ever attended. Super freshly run, super amazingly judged, just an all-around fantastic experience. So the fact that we are coming in for round two here, flying out to the other side of the country to talk about this new event, and from what it sounds like, a lot of really cool stuff is happening that is even bigger than the amazing steps taken with Punt City in round one.
Yeah, so Silicon Dynasty is the first event that Eminence is going to be running in person for 2023, and we are super excited about it. So it's going to be in San Jose, California. It's the first West Coast event that we will be hosting, and one of the very few West Coast tournaments that kind of exist throughout the United States. I think the last one was the Cash Cards Unlimited tournament, and that one was a little bit priced out for most players. So here we are trying to, provide a costly alternative to cEDH events.
Absolutely.
So that'll be January 13th through the 15th in San Jose, California. And it's going to be a really cool event with a star-studded cast of players that are attending. Being on like the other side of the coast, it's usually really hard for people to travel.
Yeah.
But luckily, traveling through like San Francisco makes this trip a lot more affordable for most players, especially because it's only like a 30-minute drive to the event. So you can Uber or carpool with some other players and save like a couple $100 on your flight.
That's awesome. Definitely.
Yeah. So it makes the option a lot easier for most people to swallow.
Right. And no, because I know when people were talking about like Vegas or like some of the LA based events, people were like, okay, well, it's $1,000 for me to even show at the door,
Yeah. No, this is actually one of the most affordable tournaments that you'll be able to go to, because even the room block for the hotel is only like $110 a night.
Right, which is insane. I was talking to, or actually in my last video, I made a whole point about the room block on this thing. Like the fact that not only this is a super affordable area to travel to, Eminence is a proxy-friendly tournament environment. The cost of entry is pretty reasonable for any sort of competitive tournament, and the room block options are huge because like as many times as like the tournament itself cannot break the bank, sometimes just like staying overnight at a place is a real cost. But Eminence is kind of taking care of that and said, hey, come stay here. We got you. We're going to stay at the same place you're going to play at, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, like you said, the cost of entry is like fairly affordable. It's $70 for a ticket, and it works out for the player, right? And that's what Eminence is all about, is we're by the players for the players. So we want an event that is affordable, we want an event that's fun, and we want an event that as many people can come to as they can, because we don't want to try to annex any part of the community, which is why we're holding events on the West Coast, because we feel like historically there haven't been enough events for that side of the coast. So it's really cool to see that meta and that player base really get an opportunity to shine and kind of get on the center stage of cEDH, because that's what these tournaments are, right? When you look at Monarch events or Eminence events or any of these things that get broadcasted to the world, this is like the center stage of cEDH.
Absolutely.
So to give people the opportunity to play, get on some showcase games and stream your game in front of hundreds of people, like this is a really cool chance for that.
Yeah, and just like being a competitive player in the past like 8 months to a year has been so just like the environment is thriving. And, at first it was Monarch stepping up their game, throwing on these in-person tournaments, and now Eminence coming in, throwing these banger tournaments. And we're about to talk about how many are going to be coming down the pipeline, but we'll get to that in a second. But this opportunity. I get DMs all the time for people being like, where do you find these tournaments? Where do you go to these things? These are the things. I make these videos for you out there in the audience. So please, come to the Silicon Dynasty event. Eminence is going out of their way to make it attainable, affordable, travelable. Come to them, participate, and compete. And there's nothing but awesome, amazing things coming for anyone who's interested in taking the EDH tournament scene on by force, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good point that you hit on, because like these events, you can play at your LGS and get into tournaments like that. But for a lot of people in a lot of different places around the United States, cEDH events at your LGS are only firing with like 8, 16, and if you're lucky, 30 people. Well, these are tournaments where you have the opportunity to play with 160 different people.
Right.
These are the largest events that you're going to get now for cEDH, and so being a part of them is really cool. And for Eminence, it's even better because they're proxy friendly. It's a 4K tournament, right? So there's $4,000 in prize support. It's top heavy,
which is insane too.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we're lucky because we have such great sponsors, people like Moxfield and the Epic Storm and all these other people that donate money to us so we can run these big events. It's really a special thing to be a part of.
Yeah, and that's something totally worth mentioning. And what I also enjoy about Eminence is that you use the word top heavy to describe it, but at the same time, like people who qualify for the top cuts, they're at least getting their money back, and that's usually something that like it doesn't always happen in tournaments, especially when there are these tournaments that were like you're mentioning, like cash cards, things like that were like giant gambles, right? Whereas this tournament is, you got your $7 entrance fee, you got a very reasonable room block, you've got pretty easy travel, and you can make your tournament fee back, or you can, walk away with hundreds of dollars, right?
Yeah, that's the nice thing about it. Like if you top 16 Punt City, you're making more than just your entry fee back. Which is really nice, right? Because that's the least that you could ask for. And it's quite like significantly more. It's not, it's not nothing. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, the price support for these events are really cool, and no one else is doing it this big, right? Nowhere else are you, if you win first place, are you getting almost $1,000?
Right.
cEDH. So it's really cool to have an event that does that for the community, because the community needs that, to drive so much more engagement into the competitive scene. So it's really cool to see. And something that you talked about that I'd like to touch on is that this is the first of many, right? So Eminence is actually doing a circuit series for the year 2023. So last year we did Punt City 1. That was the first event that we did as a team, and it was kind of to test the waters, right? Can we do it? How can we do it? Can it be successful? That kind of stuff. And it was amazing. Punt City 1 was a blast. Everybody, the entire scene of Philly came out to play. It was a good time. And like
Philly plus, I should say. Like we had people from the Midwest, we had people from California, the West Coast. Like there were people from all over coming for that.
Yeah, they showed up for that event. And so because of that success, what Eminence has decided to do is that they want to do a 4-event circuit with a nationals tournament at the end. So in January, it's basically quarterly events. So it starts with Silicon Dynasty in January. Then in March, we have Punt City 2. We go back to Philly. And then in July, we're doing the Cookout in Atlanta, which is huge, because we talk about like events on the East Coast and events on the West Coast, but to get an event in the South and in Atlanta specifically is really cool, because you're hitting all facets of the community then, which no one really does, and I haven't heard of any major events in that area region, specifically. So
I do love the name, the Cookout, too. I want to throw that one out there. It's so good.
It fits very well. The aesthetic of the Cookout will be huge. And then in September we're doing the Windmill Slam, which goes back to San Jose. And then to top off the entire year, in December, there's going to be a nationals event that is going to be in the Midwest. The location hasn't been determined yet, but that event is going to be Eminence's like huge thank you to the community. It's going to be a convention style event with a lot of things going for it.
So cool.
And to get a little taste of the action, you can hit any of these 4 events in the circuit on the way to nationals, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. It's funny. I was talking with somebody about prepping for Silicon Dynasty yesterday, and sometimes you like forget how like insane like the cool things leading up to this event are, right? And you're like, yeah, well, I don't know. I like gave them one of my meme decks, and we were both talking about playing it because I got excited about it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, Silicon's got like. It's got some pretty hot prizes, and it might be able to qualify me for nationals. Like, oh no, maybe I got to bring my A game.
Yeah, if Punt City's like any inclination to what Silicon Dynasty is going to be, the meta
Yeah.
is definitely more competitive than what
Yeah.
you're used to
Oh,
seeing.
it's super
Um,
intense. Absolutely.
yeah, because like something that like I as a because I also compete, right?
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
something that I notice when you play like in certain online events is people are a little bit more comfortable bringing fringe decks or decks that
Sure.
they're not as accustomed to playing or that you don't see topping events very often
Definitely.
because it's a free event or it's only $30 and the
Right.
price support is never that great, so you can just throw your name in the hat and hope it works out.
Hmm.
With these events, you have a lot of top level players that come and show up, and the price support's significant enough that people really play at the highest level they can, so you see a lot of
Right.
different meta changes. I remember for Punt City 1, you saw a lot of Nagila, a lot of
Hmm.
Rogsai, a lot of Blue Farm, right? A lot of these decks that are considered the top tier, and then you saw a lot of fringe decks that tried to cut through the line there.
Hmm.
But like
Which,
Winota was like one of the most
yeah.
popular decks at Punt City. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I remember and it had one of its best showings ever, right?
Hmm.
With Mike winning the whole thing.
Yep.
So these events definitely have a little bit more of a competitive edge to them than you're
Definitely.
used to seeing.
Yeah, I think Winota was like there. I think there were like 6 or 7 there. I got top 16. Mike won the whole thing, and there was like a Breakers Winota that should have also made top 16 had they had like one more win percentage or something like that. So like crazy Winota tournament.
Yeah.
But that one was really interesting too because you're mentioning all these like decks that were like sort of predicted to be at that tournament. But at the same time, these things that are like known for the top of the format were also being balanced. The pods at Punt City were extremely balanced because there was, while Blue Farm did well, there was also, Charles showing up with the mono white representation. There were a bunch of really diverse mid-range decks. Surreal was there with their, Gruul pile of choice. Like there was a lot of diversity in the format. And like one of the reasons that like Winota was doing pretty well in that tournament was the fact that everything was so balanced out. So that was just like a really unique thing for Punt City because I think people were like, oh, I expect it to kind of be this way in particular. And then it turned out to be this like wholly wide metagame. And meanwhile, like a ton of cool people showed up, right? They had yourself there, with people like Charles, as I mentioned, a bunch of people from the area. We had people from Kingdoms TV there. Like there was the representation at Punt City was huge. And now we're heading out to California, which is like we get all the really cool people from the West Coast too, right?
Yeah, so speaking of the really cool people from the West Coast, there's a lot of people that are going to show up that either one you wouldn't expect to see at a cEDH event, or
Hmm.
or people that you wouldn't normally get the opportunity to see because they live on the other side of the United States.
Right.
So like you're gonna get to see a lot of players like West Coast players like Ken Bauman
Hmm.
that like don't make it out to all the East Coast tournaments,
Yep.
and like Ken specifically is someone that like wanted to go to Oko
Hmm.
and wasn't able to make it due to COVID complications and
Hmm.
things like
Hmm.
that. So like getting an opportunity to come to these West Coast events are
Yeah.
really cool. I know another face that's confirmed that they're coming is going to be Shivam Bot from Casual Magic and the CAG.
Hmm.
They're a person that's really expressed interest into getting to know the community better,
Absolutely.
specifically the cEDH community. And even though they don't play competitive EDH, they're a person that really wants to get invested into knowing what that player base is like
Right.
personally. So seeing him come to the event is huge, especially for like getting to know the format and getting to kind of spread the awareness of our format, because
Absolutely.
like, cEDH is very much in its infant stage, but it's growing quickly.
Hmm.
So being a part of that's really cool. I know we also have an RC member that's planning on attending and hopefully competing, but
Yeah.
we won't be announcing who that person is. But keep that in the back of your mind if you want to come to Silicon Dynasty, because these are opportunities that you don't get presented very often.
Yeah. Right. And can we just talk about how huge that is? The fact that there is an RC member coming to a competitive EDH tournament, right? That is, think back like 2 years ago, talking about like barely just getting flash banned, like any of these things that we know from this format, just like looking at it for those players who have been in here, like doing the thing for a while, it's wild to see. First of all, wild to see that we have this tournament group that is putting on 5 events next year. And the fact, not even to mention their online events, right? Like this is just the in-person events, 5 in-person tournaments. And an RC member just happens to be coming to this tournament. And, a well-known figure like Shivam, who, for anyone who's also, once again, been around since that Flash conversation, Shivam was one of the people really pushing for the cEDH community. So it's nice to see him coming out and representing the squad. And this is, I mean, just super exciting stuff, right?
Yeah, and not only people like that, but we also have like huge faces in our own community as well.
Right.
So like obviously like you plan on attending. We have Cal from Playing with Power who wants to
Mm-hmm.
come. Callahan from the Mind Sculptors is planning on being there. Even Nicholas Hammond, who's the TO for Monarch,
Yep.
he's going to be there competing, and this will be the first in-person event that he'll have the opportunity to compete in. So like these are all faces that are really surprising to see and really great to have coming to an event like this.
Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know if I even like explicitly said this. I will definitely be there at this event. So anyone who is like watching this channel, maybe West Coast people who haven't gotten a chance to come and say hi and meet me at events, you can always say hello when I'm in the middle of a tournament. Well, except for like not in the middle of the round, please. But yeah, feel free to come say hi. I will definitely be there. I'm so excited to this. I've wanted to travel to California for a while, so like I'll probably try to be putzing around for a couple days afterwards, depending on work stuff. Fingers crossed. But like this is a super exciting opportunity. This event's looking like it's going to be absolutely insane, and I'm full of hype.
Yeah. And even if you don't have the opportunity to come to Silicon Dynasty, the stream for this event is going to be one of the highest production streams that a cEDH tournament organizer has been able to put on. I know that with Punt City 1, one of the few negative things that we heard was that, you know, the stream quality could have been better. Well, we heard that and we listened. And so we are overhauling the stream quality in comparison to tournaments that we've done in the past.
Right.
I know that we're working with specific people who have worked with like Star City Games and other large tournament organizers in the past. We have an overhaul on the professional equipment that we're using.
Yep.
Me and Shauna are getting a little bit spoiled with the amount of equipment that we get, but we're really excited because the stream is something that, you know, that's my thing, and I'm very passionate for making sure that the casting quality and the stream that people get to watch at home is to the best that it can be, because that's how I got introduced to cEDH.
Right.
Was by watching streams and watching people play and watching tournaments online, because it's hard to make every event, right? It's costly. It's no cheap feat. So we put a lot of effort into making sure that the people at home that can't make it to the tournament still get to feel like they're there. So that's the biggest part for this event that I think is going to be a huge improvement.
Awesome. And Adam doesn't know I'm going to go off on this tangent right now, but I have had like a lot of like qualms with casting and things like that for events in the past and historically. And Adam is perhaps one of the most entertaining casters we've gotten for cEDH events in a long time. I'm very aware I wasn't, you can see his genuine surprise. I did not tell him I was going to go off on this, but like legitimately a super entertaining caster. I know I've interacted with Shauna a few times, super entertaining people. So I can't imagine this stream will be, especially with all of the tech and investment going into it, anything less than an absolute slam dunk. You know, as I've said, historically, people have really struggled to like get that casting right. And for a while there, I was thinking about stepping back from the tournament scene, specifically because I was so annoyed by how bad the casting was. But people like you and other people in the community, but especially you, Adam, seriously have been bringing their A game. And I'm so excited to see how this turns out.
Well, I really appreciate that, and you're not the only one that feels that way, right? There's a lot of top level players in the community that have similar qualms, right? I look at like Morgan and Reed as a great example,
right?
Like Morgan has stepped back in a huge way and cast has started taking up casting for a lot of events, right?
Yeah,
he casts chaos events and r/cEDH and things like that.
Yeah,
and so like there's definitely that notice in the community that some people feel that type of way,
right?
And so that's what got me into it, was that I you know, I can see that there's a lack of this type of engagement, and so like you know, why not help improve it? And Shauna, my partner, who's a part of my West Coast team, she's an amazing partner to have for this. She's super funny, super energetic, and she brings such a good dynamic to the cast. That's really fun to be a part of. And so I'm really excited for the community to see how our cast specifically goes, because as friends, we've gotten a lot closer, and our dynamic as we go through games has really been something special. And so this should be a really fun stream and a really fun event to be a part of. And just like always, there's going to be side events for this event. We haven't announced any of the events yet, but you know, we do whatever the community wants. So Pauper was a huge success at Punt City. I'm sure we'll be bringing Pauper back. Vendors sometimes will want to do pre-con battles and things like that. The vendor selection is going to be amazing. If you're attending the event, they prioritize foils and these high singles that are specific to CD. Like they don't pull any punches, right? Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
bring top-notch stuff. A
Last
fun
time I think everyone was there was one or it was like one or two foil mind break traps in the case, and I remember everyone walking by the case being like, "Oh, that's pretty hot. I might want to snag that," and then it was gone, and just the murmur of disappointment that went around the hall.
There was one foil tainted pact, and I remember someone picked it up for like $160, and I was like, how did that even, like, how did you rob them of that foil? Like it was just such a,
Yeah,
there was some really
absolutely.
really cool things there. And being like a proxy friendly event, they
Mhm.
have the playtest cards if you forget a card at home or
Yep.
whatever. You always have the opportunity to fix things last minute,
Mhm.
and the judge staff for Eminence
Oh
is
my
just
God, amazing.
absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Max is our head judge. He does like such a good job running these
Mhm.
events. He really has the entire tournament down to a T and knows everything that's going on and can handle any situation. Seth, who's usually the appeals judge, is just absolutely wonderful. Everybody knows Seth. We're gonna shout him out, Hot Judge Seth. He's just a wonderful person to be around, and they just do an awesome job. And their entire staff of judges just are absolutely wonderful. So
Absolutely. No, that was one thing I was going to go off about is like the judge staff that you guys have as like your quote eminent staff is always something that I respect so wholly. It's I've been to cEDH tournaments, especially recently. I in my most recent video, I sort of called out some qualms I had with some judging calls in a few events I was at, and I've never even come close to that with the Eminence team. I've gotten to know a bunch of them really personally as well, and they put their work in a very serious capacity. They take it very seriously, and they're also like human beings. Like I know sometimes when people call judges, they get really scared because that like a turbo narc is going to come over and like break their kneecaps, right? And that's not the Eminence judge staff. Like y'all vetted some amazing people. Max is great. Seth, other people that are on the team, they're all fantastic options. So I'm very excited to have them back, and I guess they're all like kind of on the team roster at this point, right?
yeah, so we basically have a judge staff that will be attending almost every event with us. Of course, a few will be in and out. They'll also have like
Right.
certain judges that are, I guess, like would be like apprenticing, right? Or
Hmm.
that are
Hmm.
that are trying to learn the format
Yeah,
and learn the
absolutely.
ways that they can improve. So like Eminence is working really hard to breed that team of strong, high level judges, so that
Right.
there are more judges available for cEDH as
For the
well.
most complicated format in Magic, absolutely. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
to get training judges for cEDH is not easy. Fun fact: you have to know basically every interaction in the whole game. It's super casual.
And like our judge staff really prioritizes the same things that we as a TO, right,
Yeah.
prioritize as Eminence, which is
Hmm.
it's by the players for the players.
Right.
These judges are your friends, right?
Yeah.
They don't want you to get punished. They don't
Hmm.
want you to
Hmm.
to get the worst consequence ever. They want everything to work out in the favor of the players where it's applicable.
Yeah.
So they're really 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 nice. They're really really friendly, and they make you feel like comfortable, which is the biggest part of
Absolutely.
judging is feeling
Absolutely.
comfortable while you're playing. And so I can't give them enough praise for what they do, and it just helps make Eminence so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like one just singing endorsement for this entire team, right? For those who don't know, as I've talked about many times on this channel already, the Mox Masters tournament series, right? That is Playing with Power's Eminence collaboration, right? So the Playing with Power team was so genuinely impressed by how amazing Punt City was that they were like, hey, you team of professionals, come run our events online, right? So these are those people, like to so impress the biggest name in cEDH content that they were like, come take over our series, and now here they are putting on another awesome event, learning from the mistakes of the last one, which were quantifiably few, and now just saying like, we're gonna go and up the stakes on each and every one of these things. This is such an exciting opportunity, and I'm so glad that I already have my ticket bought, because I would not want to miss this opportunity at all. I know so
Yeah.
many people who are going. I'm so excited. There's a bunch of creators and hoping to attend. It's so exciting.
Yeah, Mox Masters is a great example of like what the team is capable
Hmm.
of,
Hmm.
right? And that's us as Eminence diving into the online tournament
Right.
scene,
Right.
specifically providing large online tournaments with large prize support,
Yep.
which is so cool. And it's so cool that the Playing with Power guys showed notice in that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Ryan wanted us to be a part of that with
Right.
them. And a really great thing that Eminence is able to do is, whether or not you're attending an in-person event or you're playing at your LGS,
Hmm.
you can run an Eminence tournament anywhere,
Mm.
because Eminence now has their new proprietary tournament software, Command Tower. So they have like shop affiliates that run different tournaments throughout the United States. That if you win those events, you get your ticket to Silicon Dynasty paid for.
Whoa.
Um, yeah, so there's like 10 shops left that can be a part of this affiliate program, which is really,
Yeah.
really cool because they slot like, I believe it's like 15 or 20 tickets total to local LGSs.
That's so cool.
So
I had no idea about that. That's awesome.
yeah, it's one of like the cool. Yeah, Eminence is trying their hardest to be invested in the community in any
Yeah.
way possible. So yeah, so they have the shop affiliate program, which if you are an LGS owner that happens to be watching this video, you can email Eminence and find out how to be a part of it. But you can get it so that you can run events where the prize support, a part of the prize support, is a ticket to Silicon Dynasty or any of the other events on the docket for the rest of the year.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
you can run a cEDH event, use the, Command Tower software, run that through your event, and then the winner gets their ticket for one of these events paid for, which is a really cool thing that you don't get to see very often.
Yeah. And let's take a second to talk about the Command Tower software, right? This is a project that I know the team was working on, specifically Zane, one of the, just like a brilliant player in general, right? Like already just happens to be a brilliant Magic player who also, just happens to know how to design like one of the most intricate and well-made tournament softwares for our format. And it was never an easy task, but I have had now 3 tournaments under the belt where I've used this software, which is Punt City, Mox Masters 1, and Mox Masters 2. And it is so clean. It is so easy. It's so easy to check on your phone when you're at the event. I mean, this just sounds like I'm on the hype train right now, but like legitimately, it's such a clean system and it's insanely, like I'm not here to hype up their software, but like this is part of my excitement about this team, right? Is like they give so much caring about every single aspect of this tournament. And the Command Tower software, as you said, right, it is able to be used not even within the scope of these events, right?
No, so anybody can purchase the Command Tower software, and it's
so
like,
crazy. Yeah,
it's like the most affordable thing you could do. It's cheaper than Netflix. It's like $5 a month, and if you run an
What?
LGS or if you run a play group, you can just have this software and you can run events over 160 people large.
That's so crazy.
And yeah, and the reason for creating a software like this is mainly for 2 reasons. The first one is that the companion app doesn't run EDH events at all.
Right.
Even if you're just running casual pods, it doesn't pair people up for you. So if you've ever gone to your LGS and the store owner has shuffled, lands together and has each person pick a land or puts names into a hat and picks 4 of them, and that's your pod. This does away with all that. You just plug your names into the software and you hit, randomized player order, and it puts everybody into pods.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. And it's super affordable and super cheap. And, that's what Eminence is about, is being affordable and being accessible. So the Command Tower software, I can't rave it enough. I'm opening an LGS and we've already used it for like 3 tournaments.
That's
it's
so
the
cool.
easiest thing ever.
Yeah.
And it's linked to your Eminence account. So any Eminence event, if you've signed up to Eminence before, you can purchase the Command Tower software and you can run events through your Eminence account.
So cool.
Which is so cool. Yeah. And it's just really fun. So if you're an LGS that likes running cEDH events, if you're a player that has cEDH in your community and your LGS struggles to run events sometimes, please recommend them to Command Tower, because it takes the hassle out of everything and it's so smooth and so clean. And if you've ever done an Eminence tournament, you know what the software does already because you've been a part of it.
Maybe we'll have to do a comedian MTG tournament soon.
That would be pretty sick. I know that the boys say if anybody wants to run an event that they can just contact Zane and Mikey and they'll hook you up with the software, or you can run one through Eminence every once in a while.
Pretty hot. Cool, Adam. Thank you. I mean, first of all, thank you so much for coming on for this. This has been awesome. Any last things you want to talk about and hype up for this event before we head out?
Just, make sure that you get there. Silicon Dynasty, January 13th through the 15th in San Jose, California. It's the first Eminence event of the year. It's going to be huge. Okay. Everybody's going to be there. Let me just throw some FOMO out there. But I hope to see all these people's lovely faces there. And
as we mentioned, right in the middle of there, if you cannot catch this event, catch the stream, but I highly, highly, highly encourage you, if you can make it out to any of these Eminence events, especially Silicon Dynasty, do it. And as of right now, I plan on hyping up each and every one of these events as they come along, because I had an amazing time at Pun City. I've enjoyed both Mox Masters tournaments. I obviously know people on this team and know the good character of the people running these things. I know how hard y'all work to make sure these things happen. And the professionalism around cEDH events has never been this high, which may get flack from people, but seriously, it is a super professional team. You have a great staff, a great software, like all of these things are just fantastic, and it's basically the evolution of what cEDH on a competitive tournament level as like the tournament channel. It's so awesome to see this format being exemplified in such a great way. So you will definitely catch me at Silicon Dynasty. I'm so excited. All of that information, including the location that's been on my screen right over here this entire time, right between Adam and I. And if you're like, wait, how could I possibly understand how to get to these events? It is a link that will be flashing on your screen right about now, Eminence.events, which you can go to specific events, as you can see on the screen there, and then find Silicon Dynasty. But obviously, as more events start rolling out, you can find those there as well. And like everything I talk about with links, you're going to leave a link right down in the description below, and you'll be able to find that, the link to the Eminence website. Awesome. So Adam, thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. It's been a pleasure to have you hear your dulcet tones that we're going to get to hear at the Silicon live stream.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk about something that I'm super passionate about.
Hell yeah, man. Buy those tickets, everybody. This event is going to be huge. If you are interested in competitive EDH on a tournament level on anything, if you want to try out that brew in a high stakes environment, if you want to have fun competing, if you want to prove that Winota is the best deck in the format, and you want to do a mic and just go and slap people with some goblins, all of these things can be done at Silicon Dynasty. Check out Eminence.events. Y'all are going to have an amazing time. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like videos like this, remember to hit like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. And there are many amazing people who help me get out to events like Eminence and help make this channel happen, help me be able to have this platform so that I can tell you about super amazing things like this. If you want to be like any of those people, please check out patreon.com/comedianmtg. It helps out the channel a ton. You get tons of fantastic perks. We've had people have deck techs on the channel. We have people who are in the show notes that you will see at the end right now. So thank you all so much for joining me. From Adam and I, have an amazing week. See you next time. Peace.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gonna feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the